that he's Northern Ireland's number one. So he's going to be playing international games against on occasion some really sort of good international clubs. So he would have faced some really high quality players from other international teams as well. So I think for a second goalkeeper to come in the transfer window. I think the club have done absolutely brilliant to get the two that we've got. So welcome back to Smallheath Alliance FC, and we've now started to see a number of players signed by Birmingham City over the last week or so. We've seen Ryan Allsop come in. We've also seen Alfie May come in, and just a few days before that, we had another goalkeeper who joined our club, Bailey Peacock-Farrell. And in this video, we're going to just do a discussion on our thoughts on Bailey, how we think he'll fit into the club, and I've got one or two stats about him that you might find interesting. So, what do you think of the signing, Matt, of Bailey Peacock-Farrell?
Yeah, I think it seems like a good signing. And the fact we've got two keepers in the door now kind of gives me a big sense of relief. We're kind of covered in the goalkeeper area now, especially if you include our younger players. I think we've got good coverage in the area. But before we go into his specifics and his details, just again, I know we did it on a previous video, but all the best to John Ruddy, our keeper last season who didn't decide not to renew his contract.
On that, how did he get a contract at Newcastle?
I had no idea.
Why would he go there? I mean, I know he's gone now, so we won't dwell on this.
Yeah,
but I looked at that with a real raised eyebrow because we were saying he won't stay because he won't want to be number two, and he's gone to Newcastle. He's probably going to be playing very few
third
games.
or fourth keeper at Newcastle.
Anyway, I just wanted to say I do wish him really, really well. But John, what do you do, mate?
Yeah. Yeah. And also as well with because he mentioned he wanted to play first team football. I thought it would have been Blackburn or maybe go back to Norwich to be closer to his family. I have no idea.
Well.
Charlton, yeah, he was. Yeah. So why he's gone to Newcastle, I have no idea. But I mean, again, money talks, doesn't it? I'm sure he's been offered quite a bit of money there. But yeah, so I'm happy with the signing, and I'm really happy that we've got a 27-year-old and a 31-year-old, and they're going to be pushing each other on the training pitch now. And I mean, we'll come back to who we think is going to be our number one choice, or who Chris Davis might pick as our number one choice a little bit later down the line. But, the fact that we all know, don't we, Dad, that players push each other when they have good players around them. And the fact now we've got Ryan Allsop and Peacock, I'm going to call him Peacock for the interest without saying his hyphen name.
It is a long name.
It is a long name, we'll call him Peacock for the interest of this. They're going to be bouncing off each other. They're going to be pushing each other. And I think, the fact we've got two goalkeepers in, Premier League experience to some extent. I know Peacock played under Bielsa and under Kompany, and Allsop had championship experience, nearly making the playoffs with Hull. So we've got two really good, experienced players for a 27-year-old and a 31, 32-year-old in Allsop. And as I said, and I think they're going to be doing battles on the training ground to push each other and to make sure they're being the best on the pitch that they can. I'm really excited. I think they're two great signings.
Well, it's interesting because my stats, even though that he was at Leeds under Bielsa, my stats show that he only had very limited Premier League experience. Mm-hmm. So I'll just show you some of the experience.
Even limited though, it's still Premier League experience.
4 games,
isn't it? Yeah.
For 4 games. 14 games actually in total, but obviously some of those would have been, substitutions or whatever. So he didn't get a load of experience.
I mean, how often does a keeper get subbed in? It's subbed in. It's very rare in and of itself, isn't it?
Yeah, true. Well, I've got 14 games here. No clean sheets in the Premier League. But then that's a surprise. But yeah, Championship 56 games he's played, 15 clean sheets. League One 47 games, 15 clean sheets, and then he's also had a spell in Denmark as well. He played for a club called Aarhus. So if you look at the stats club by club, and this is in the order of the most games he's played for a club going downwards. So he's played his most games for Sheffield Wednesday. 49 games, 17 clean sheets. Leeds United, and some of these would have been in the Championship, 53 games, 11 clean sheets. Aarhus, which is the Danish club, 37 games, 11 clean sheets, and then Burnley, 35 games and 10. That's not too bad. I mean, that's not an outstanding clean sheet record, but we've mentioned defence before. It ain't just about the goalkeeper. So, goalkeeper has a big responsibility, but clean sheets are down to the whole team, really, especially the defence. So that's not bad. But it's not overly outstanding. I think when I heard he was signing, I thought about him and thought what I knew about him. This before I looked into him, and I always think of him as a goalkeeper that always was one that was shown as having potential, but never really ever made a massive breakthrough. I know he's a Northern Ireland national goalkeeper. I get that, but he seems to be at a lot of teams where he's second choice. And I think he's going to have a back. We'll talk about this in a minute, as you mentioned. But obviously, it's great to have him with Ryan Allsop because they should really push each other. But we're going to talk about in a minute who's going to be number.
That's exactly what I was alluding to in my opening statement. That they're going to be pushing each other and raising each other's game. And as you said, this could be his breakthrough. This could be his breakthrough role, couldn't it? At some point they always have a breakthrough season, or they always have a season where they're, JJ. For us last season was kind of his a real first team breakout season, wasn't it? So this could be his club where he does that now. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know everything about this player. I don't, but I did do a bit of research. A little bit of Premier League experience. Worked with Company, worked with Bielsa, Northern Ireland #1. The fact we're in League One, I thought that was a pretty good pull.
No, it is.
And I read his interview. Just got a few notes here, if you don't mind me quickly reading off. His interview was really good. He spoke about the ambition of the club and how he likes the pressure of being at a big club. And he said himself, he's a solid all-rounder. And Company and Bielsa at Leeds were renowned for playing that progressive style of football, playing out from the back. And again, he said he's confident in doing that. He has experience doing that. And, Chris Davies wants a keeper who's involved in the build-up play. And I think Allsop and Peacock actually fit those two criteria for him.
It's good. Normally you've got a very, very strong first-choice goalkeeper, and the second-choice goalkeeper is not always at that level. I think we've got two goalkeepers. I think Allsop is obviously more experienced as a first choice in a championship team, but he's a great goalkeeper to have alongside him. And I don't want to call him number 1 or number 2 because I think that they will interact through the season. I think Chris Davies will pick a number 1, but obviously we've got a lot of games to play, haven't we, in all sorts of different competitions, so I think he'll get a lot of game time as well. And of course, then if there's injuries or suspensions, then we've got a good backup goalkeeper, either or, to come in. He's 27, which is a great age. Definitely. Really, really good age. He's pretty tall as well, which is good for a goalkeeper. At 1.94 metres, I think that's about 6'4", something like that. 6'3", 6'4", which is we want a tall goalkeeper, don't you? So he's got all the attributes and the experience as well. I think what will really help him as well is the fact that he's Northern Ireland's number 1. So he's going to be playing international games against, on occasion, some really sort of good international clubs. So he would have faced some really high quality players from other international teams as well. So I think for a second, goalkeeper to come in the transfer window, I think the club have done absolutely brilliant to get the two that we've got.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And it's funny, you said last time about Allsop, and again, we like to read the room and talk about social media, and someone said, "Oh, well done, you've signed Poppadom hands." And I said I missed that comment. And don't get me wrong, a lot of what I've been reading about Peacock has been overwhelmingly positive, saying we've got a great keeper on our hands. But there was one particular comment that made me laugh. I meant, "Oh, you spelt his name wrong. That's not how you spell biscuit fingers."
I think I saw that. You're always going to get that because obviously me and you could have conversations about players, and then we'd have like slightly different opinions of them, as we do. So I think it's always the same, isn't it? As well. So I've got a few of his strengths. He's got he's a good shot stopper. He's good at close range saves. This is obviously from research from what the fans of other clubs have actually said. He's known for being good at saving penalties. Hopefully we won't have too many of them against us. And generally, in most cases, a reliable commanding presence as well. What's really important, I think, one of the reasons he came to us as well, i.e. that we chose him, was because he's a goalkeeper that can play from the back, like you mentioned. That was really important. Because if he couldn't do that, then that wouldn't suit our style of play. So it would be pointless having him. So that's another good thing as well.
I must admit, just on that as a disclaimer, I am not about this modern football. I absolutely poo my pants. When we're playing out from the back. I mean, maybe because it was last season and we were playing Rooney ball and it was Ruddy with the ball at his feet. Maybe that was the difference in where. But how many times did we literally have our head in our hands going, I can't watch this. This is actually painful to watch. But I think
that'll happen next season because that style of play,
it's risky.
It comes with risk.
It's high risk, high reward, isn't it? But when you watch teams and they do it well, it's actually really impressive to watch. So I'm hoping Chris Davies in this pre-season is obviously working very hard on how he builds out from the back with the goalkeepers. But there was a lot of speculation online about Birmingham City and our transfer our transfer window, and the fact we hadn't got anyone in just yet. This was a couple of weeks back. And I'm really happy the first two through the door are goalkeepers. I think that sends a message that Chris Davies is really focusing on strengthening them from the back forward. He wants to get that progressive style of football in. And these two signings say that Chris Davies is now actually putting his mark on the team and getting the style of football he wants to play.
Yeah, I think it's great to have two goalkeepers that we've got now, because like I say, you don't want to be in a position where one of them gets injured or a goalkeeper gets injured, well, who do we put in goal now? And then you're looking at goalkeepers that are in the youth team or and not ready just yet as well. Here's a few comments just from each of the teams. Just one comment from each of the teams from that he's played for. Because I always like when we're looking at or signing players, what do the fans think of that player? And this is Leeds United when he played. Opinions are mixed. Some fans were impressed with his early performance and potential, but others felt he lacked consistency. And his departure to Burnley coincided with the arrival of Kiki Casilla, who was the goalkeeper at the time. When he was at Burnley, which is the club that we've signed him off, this Burnley, he never truly cemented himself as the undisputed first choice, which is what we've said. He's always been that goalkeeper that's never been quite number one choice. He's always been on the peripheries. While fans appreciated his contribution during the loan spells and the Championship title win, most seemed content with him moving on, especially after Burnley had secured promotion back to the Premier League. Sheffield Wednesday, which is actually where he played, where he was on loan, he played most of his games. Fans were generally positive about Peacock-Farrell's performance. He kept clean sheets and played a key role in their run to League One playoffs. So obviously was with them in League One, is now with us in League One. And the Aarhus, which is the Danish team, similar to Sheffield Wednesday, fans were impressed with clean sheets and overall contribution to the team's fifth finish in the Danish Super League. So there's nothing overly negative there. But I look at those comments, Matt, as a goalkeeper, it's a no-win position. You only have to make one mistake and everybody remembers it, don't you? So I don't think them comments are actually that bad, if I'm honest, overall, because it's easier to, with a goalkeeper, you're always prone to those mistakes and always prone to conceding goals as well.
It's funny, isn't it? Because
overall, they're not bad.
Because when a striker misses a chance, it's kind of like, you put your head in your hands and you move past. But if a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it's often what everyone talks about from the game. So a goalkeeper, I think, is a bit of a thankless position, actually, sometimes in football, if I'm honest. And as I said, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the feedback we got from some of the fans. And I'm like you, Dad. I like to read the room. I like to read what other fans are saying. And I think that feels positive. And as I say, the biggest thing for me is that these two goalkeepers now are going to keep pushing each other to the next level, I think. And I think it's an exciting time.
I do as well, and let's go back to this question that we've been alluding to all through this podcast. Then, so if I was to ask you right now, who do you think will be number one choice as of today? Who would you say?
I don't know why I'm so confident in this, but I think Ryan Allsop is going to be the targeted number one for Chris Davies, and Peacock will be the backup. But I don't think it's going to be as clear cut as Allsop is guaranteed to play every single game of the season. I think we possibly, as always, we see cup games with the second goalkeeper. That's pretty standard. But who knows how this season's going to go? We could see more time from Peacock than you would do from an ordinary secondary goalkeeper. But I think Chris Davies has got his eyes on Allsop for the first team goalkeeper. What do you think?
I think in League One we've got the opportunity to shake it up a little bit in certain competitions. So, for example, what I'd like to see happen, I agree with you. I think for the league games at the moment, Ryan Allsop is going to be number one choice, in my opinion. What I'd like to see, maybe in the Papa John's Trophy, having Bailey Peacock-Farrell as number one with Bradley Mayo as the backup goalkeeper and bring him into competitive first-team football. But also, of course, all this depends upon injuries, doesn't it, and suspensions and form as well, I suppose. But Chris Davies will make his mind up. But I think as things stand, I think Ryan also was brought in to be the number one.
It's a good point, Dad, and it's a long old season. It's not just about League One, as you said. It's the Papa John's. You got the League Cup, you got the FA Cup. If we want to go on a decent cup run, who knows? Peacock might get a little. Sorry, I'm making myself laugh just referring to him as Peacock. But he might get a little bit more run in the cup games, and I'd like to see that as well. So yeah, I think Allsop will be the League One. Chris Davies is first choice for the league, and as you said, perfectly valid point, and I agree that we'll see Peacock play a little bit more in the cup games.
I know what you mean about his name, because it is a bit of a mouthful. You're not going to, if you're going to go to your kids, okay, what name do you want on your shirt, and you pay by the letter. I'm going to have May. Alfie May. I'll just have May. If you have Peacock-Farrell, I mean, everyone's paid for another shirt, haven't you? But I must admit, I have to keep saying into my brain, that it's Bailey. I keep thinking Bradley. It's Bailey, and we do apologise if you ever watch this, Bailey. But
Peacock
or Peacock, as Matt calls you. But it is a bit of a tongue twister, his name. At the end of the day, I think for me, it's a very, very good, another very, very good signing.
Yeah.
Very, very pleased he's at the
Agreed.
club, and going forward, it makes us very, very strong in that department. So, what do you think, Birmingham City supporters, about that? Obviously, we knew when John Ruddy and Neil Etheridge's contracts came to an end, it's likely that they both wouldn't stay, and now we've got two brand new goalkeepers at the club that I think are absolutely perfect for us at League One. So. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What you think about both goalkeepers? Who do you think could be number one? Do you agree with me and Matt? Do you think it will be Ryan Allsop? Pop the comments below. Let us know. And myself and Matt are always happy to get your opinions and see what you think. As always, if you did like the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out already on our social media channels, make sure you go over to our X page and Instagram page, and you'll see those handles appearing on the screen right now. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content all about Birmingham City. And myself and Matt will see you on the next video.